Live.
Good afternoon, race fans. Welcome here to Auto Club Speedway for tonight's California 160. My name is Robert Hill Jr. Joining me, as always, is Chris Wright, and also with us here tonight, Josh Adams and our producer, Nick Massey. Guys, how you doing tonight?
We're doing pretty good, I think. Getting ready to do some racing from Fontana. Got Nick here working the controls. Josh is joining us again. Josh, you typically race in this series, but tonight you're broadcasting here, sitting it out. So talk to us about what you would be doing out here if you had just qualified right now.
I would be getting ready to go racing. This is one of the, I think, more fun tracks to race on iRacing. It gives you a lot of opportunity to move around different lanes, even before our next build comes up that will be legit, hopefully. But yeah, it's just a good track to race because you get to go everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. Like Josh mentioned, you have multiple grooves you can work with here at Auto Club or Fontana, as Chris mentioned. And looking at a starting grid here today, Jake Connor on the pole in car number 9 alongside the 12 of Leighton Norgard on the front row. Justin Fuller, one of our playoff drivers, on the outside looking in, starts third alongside Tate Lytle, one of our non-playoff drivers here tonight. Trey Eidson, another driver on the outside alongside Matthew Weeks, currently in a playoff spot to advance to the finals, starting in 6th. Ethan Burrell, another driver currently in alongside Tyler Popp, starting 8th here tonight. Trey Holmes and Tyler Fody round out the top 10. Chris Wright, why don't you take us to position number 20?
Yeah, starting here in 11th, we've got Seth Rawls. Right beside him, Braxton DeWeese. Garrison Hogan, always good on the long run. Look for him to be pretty solid tonight. Jonathan Cutlip. Corey Abbott round out the top 15. Then we've got David Tooker, Joe Francis. Subpar qualifying lap out of Chad Frankenfield here from 18th, right beside Ethan Stanley. And Johnny Thomas round out the top 20.
And you did see there Ethan Stanley, the one driver in green, is locked into the playoffs here, or is locked into that championship 4 with a win last round out. Pace car about to make that turn down onto pit road here, and we are getting set to go green at Auto Club. 80 laps the distance tonight, 4 sets of tires for these drivers as we are green. Chris Wright, Josh Adams, Nick Massey, why don't we go ahead and throw some race picks out there? We'll start with Josh Adams.
I think I'm going to go with the 2 car, Tate Lytle. He's got that really good looking Kevin Harvick throwback on that he always runs. He always runs really good at this place, so I'm going to go with Tate.
Nick Massey, who do you got tonight?
Josh kind of stole my pick there. Tate's kind of really good at Auto Club, but I'm going to go with his teammate, the 11 of Matthew Weeks.
Really solid pick there, Chris Wright.
Yeah, well, I guess I'm going to be back here. I'll take Tyler Fody. He's always really good. I'll take him to get up here and win it and give it 2 races in a row here for the Lake Norman boys.
Definitely some solid picks there. I'm going to go a little bit different here. I'm going to go to the Aftermath Motorsports team. The 77 of Trey Eidson will take home victory here tonight.
And that car looks great. Is that a Jeremy Mayfield throwback? I think that's what I'm sticking with right there.
I believe so. Let's go with that. Might be Sam Hornish too. I think Sam Hornish ran a similar scheme to that in his early days of the Cup Series. As we do take a look there, Justin Fuller just ahead of Trey Eidson. Fuller in the 55, Eidson in that 77. The red windshield banners do indicate our playoff drivers. And again, on the scoring tower, those in red currently in the playoffs, but on the outside of advancement looking in. Yellow means they're in a spot to advance, and green means they're Ethan Stanley, and they're locked into that championship 4. As we see Trey Holmes getting a little bit slideways there, down on the bottom, Seth Rawls all over his rear end, and Garrison Hogan joining that battle, as well as Matthew Weeks takes a look to the inside of Tyler Popp. They're going to be 3 wide down into turn number 3. They think better of it and go back to 2 as Weeks tucks in just below the Tyler Fody machine.
Now, in all likelihood tonight, we are not going to see these guys run up at the fence. They're not going to run too high. iRacing kind of changes a little bit with every build. A few builds back, we could run all the way up to the wall. Now it's seems to be the bottom's where you want to be to save tire. These guys that are running up the track probably are not going to save a whole lot of tire like we see with Tyler Fody. You see with the 25 up there at the top of 3. They're going to be backing up probably in about 10 laps or so. We do have a new build coming soon, and there's a lot of talk and a lot of people are hoping that's going to widen out the tracks for us and give us some more lanes to race in, but we will see how that works out here in a few weeks.
Yeah, there's definitely been talk of a lot of changes coming in the next iRacing build, including the addition of precipitation out on the racetrack, so a bit of rain that could be joining the fray of these races. Hopefully not on an oval, because that wouldn't be too great, but we'll see when that comes into play and how it drives. Looking a little bit further back towards the midfield, Ethan, Stanley, Chad Frankenfield swapping positions. Just ahead of them is David Tooker and Garrison Hogan. Hogan, another one of those playoff drivers, currently just ahead of Stanley and Frankenfield. Those are the furthest back of our playoff drivers here tonight. We did start 28 drivers on the evening, so a bit of a lower level of drivers here tonight than we're used to, but still should produce a great race here, as Auto Club typically does. Jay Connor, Leighton Norgard continuing to lead the way here. Norgard a 10th and a half back of Jay Connor, and a great qualifying effort once again for Leighton Norgard as he takes a look to the inside of our race leader, Jay Connor. We're going to see if he's able to send it this time. Not sure if he's able to get there. Going to get a run down the back straightaway, tucks into the rear end of the Jay Connor machine as everyone pretty much single filed out with the exception of about 5 or 6 cars towards that midfield as everyone's jockeying for position here early on.
And in that midfield, let's not forget, Tooker and Stanley, they are not happy with each other. That's been a rivalry that's kind of played itself out all through the season, and now here they are running right together with Stanley locked in, and Tooker not even a playoff guy, so nothing for either one of them to lose, really.
Speaking of playoffs, we have to point out the big elephant in the room here. We are short a playoff driver here tonight. Scott Crump, typically driving the number 90 machine, has been issued a suspension as a result of a misconduct that took place Thursday night in the sports car series that has him parked for 1 calendar week. So Scott Crump is going to have a lot of work to do, basically has to win next round out here in the Rebilas Photography Grand National Series.
Yeah, you never want to see somebody get suspended. You never want to see those kind of things take place. And
well, you always have to control the controllables, Chris. And the one thing you can control is your own actions out on the racetrack, and that unfortunately is what came into play. So for Scott Crump, if any driver can do it, win and in, it's definitely Scott Crump.
And is it a short track? Where are we going next week?
Throw me on the spot here, Chris.
Yeah, I feel pretty good about it. If we're going to a short track, I feel like Scott could win. Not that he couldn't win anywhere, but he is really good on the short tracks, especially saving his tires and having something to race with there towards the end. Right now, I've seen Ethan Stanley work to the outside of 3 wide a few different times. And I'm not sure if he's...
Atlanta Legacy next week.
Yeah, that's definitely... I believe Scott Crump has won there before in this series, so if he hasn't, he's definitely run well there, and he's going to have a good run once again. As we watch Matthew Weeks here, you can see him in that JV Designs number 11, has Garrison Hogan behind him, taking a look to the inside of Ethan Stanley, not able to get there. Going to be side by side with Gerald Campbell. Campbell going to fall back here, but Josh, you've raced here a number of times. What's something these drivers are going to deal with as we progress through this race and potentially on a long green flag run?
Well, I think Chris talked a little bit about the guys that might burn up the right front. I think that's the biggest thing, is taking care of your right front tire, but also just depending on how the cars are handling, they may end up with a loose off condition. I think I heard tight end loose off during practice, but that was probably on fresh tires, so I don't know if they're going to trend loose or tight, but definitely take care of that right front.
Definitely want to take care of the right front as we do have a battle for the race lead. A Leighton Norgard on the inside of Jay Connor. He had the advantage momentarily, but now Connor getting that edge, running up on that high lane, able to get back in front of a Leighton Norgard. Norgard, another one that's going to have to watch that right front tire. If he keeps making runs here at Jay Connor, he's definitely going to wear out the tires a little bit more than he'd like to. But you take a look at these top two, both non-playoff drivers. both just here to collect a virtual trophy and pick up wins.
And now, I can't speak for Josh, but I'm sure Josh is sitting there maybe thinking the same thing. These two guys have built up quite the gap over this 10-lap run, Josh. How long do you think it's going to be before they start feeling the effects of the tire wear and just start dropping back like in a big old hurry?
I think this won't be the top 2 in the next 10 laps. So that'll be my prediction. But while we're talking on that, it's really cool to see these two racing for the lead. We don't expect it to last, but this is usually a battle we'd see probably around 10th or so in our top series. So cool to see both of these guys racing for the lead.
And Josh, you did mention the fact that you anticipate a lead change here soon of the drivers not currently in the top 2, and you're kind of seeing that with Trey Eidson and Ethan Burrell, both really digging into the lead that Norgard and Connor have currently, and really closing that gap as a late Norgard briefly disappeared there. Great work by Nick Massey jumping back to the Jay Connor machine so we didn't lose our feed there. Good job, Nick.
Now, I'm not sure here who has got a look at fuel numbers. I cannot see fuel numbers. Can these guys get to halfway? Can they get to lap 40?
I believe Josh is in as a spotter here in this server, so he might be able to get those numbers for us.
Yeah, it looks like they should be able to get about 31 or 32 more laps, depending on how they're running.
So it could be close. That's not going to be good for everybody. Everybody kind of does different things with the pedals, different things with the fuel.
So potentially we're in a window of 27 to 32 laps, basically, which should bring them to halfway, but nothing more. So if we do get to a green-white checkered territory, that could cause trouble for some of these drivers.
And you could two-stop it, right? Like, look at this. Look at this gap that these guys, it's gone. These two drove away, and now
Absolutely.
That gap they had is gone.
Another
they could get
2
to
laps and Trey Eidson's right there.
Yeah, they could pit between lap 20 and 25 and really just on the short end of that run. And then come back out and pit again with maybe 20, 25 to go. I mean, that's a situation where they're going to lose a ton of spots. They've kind of put themselves in a bit of a hole here that maybe they don't even know they're in just yet.
So I do want to quickly point one thing out here. Not sure what happened to him, but Kynan Jones has basically lost the entire field, finds himself about 20 seconds off the lead that Jay Connor does have. So he's potentially going to go a lap down here in the next handful of laps or so.
It's kind of interesting. He's just out there running qualifying laps.
Potentially missed the start.
Yeah,
I think that's what I'm thinking as well. Just because he doesn't have any incidents or anything like that, so it's not like he spun out. No damage on that car. I'm thinking he just missed the grid. But looking through the field, looks like a battle heating up here. Actually, still on fire. Matthew Weeks and Ethan Stanley side by side. That's just outside the top 10, I do believe. Yes, that's 12th and 13th. Stanley falling back to 13th. You see John Cutlip just behind them. He's on the inside of Gerald Campbell trying to get that spot so he can chase down Ethan Stanley and work his way forward. Cutlip, another driver consistently showing speed all season long.
We're about to have a lead change
victories, down here. Yes, absolutely. As the battle does continue between Connor and Norgard, Trey Eidson has arrived on scene. He's looking to the inside of the elite Norgard machine. Probably going to get there in the next set of corners. He's going to get a run down the back straight away, pick up that draft, and likely take a look to the inside as the late Norgard does. Norgard goes to the inside of Jake Connor. They're side by side for the lead. Norgard looking like he's going to try to slide up in
He's
front
not going to. Watch
Connor
Trey
machine.
right here. Trey's got a big run.
Trey's going to get behind the Jay Connor machine. Now, actually, he's going to look in the middle. Not able to get there. Takes my advice. Gets behind Jay Connor. Tries to give him a push. I think that's his best bet. Push Jay by the Elaine Norgard machine and then work his way forward himself. Now he drops down to the inside. Norgard going to slide up a little.
Here we go. 3 wide.
Sideways as they are 3 wide for the race lead. It's Norgard in the middle. Eidson on the bottom. Connor up top. Connor getting pushed by Ethan Burrell, who's just in Fuller going to get behind his Aftermath Motorsports teammate of Trey Eidson. Ethan Stanley had a moment towards the rear of the field. He's able to gather it back up as the battle for the lead does continue. Jay Connor up top, Trey Eidson down on the bottom. Ethan Burrell in the picture now. He's going to try to work his way forward, getting Jay Connor back in front of Trey Eidson so he can take the spot himself. He takes a look to the high side of Leighton Norgard behind him as the battle does continue here for the race lead. Looks like about 5 cars in the picture.
Tate's right there. Tate's coming up behind the 12 here.
Tate's right behind them, and just behind Tate is where you find Tyler Pop, Tyler Fody, and Braxton DeWeese. As Trey Eidson briefly scored as the race leader. I think he's going to be able to get the advantage here and pull away from Jay Connor. Never mind, as Jay Connor going to take the lead back at the line.
Here
Connor
goes Ethan Burrell.
leading this lap as Burrell dives to the inside, 3 wide once again. Ethan Burrell on the inside, Trey Eidson in the middle, Jay Connor up top. Then here comes Tate Lytle taking a look to the inside of Justin Fuller. What was a wide 3 wide is now a tight 3 wide as they come off the corner. Eidson going to edge out in front through the middle, but Jay Connor holding a very strong wheel up on the high side here. 20 laps in, 61 to go.
And I'm going to tell you, Jay is really holding these guys up, but they just cannot finish the corner with him out there.
Jay's doing what he needs to do right now, Chris Wright.
Now we're going to see these two teammates bump draft. Watch this. Fuller's going to give Trey a big push right here. That might be the end of it for Jay right there.
Once they clear Jay Connor, he is going to fall back into the fray of the mid to back of the top 10 guys, and then probably start descending further and further through the field as both Connor and Fuller get a little bit sideways right there. That was a sketchy moment. As we ride on board, this is the Trey Eidson machine. Looking back at Jay Connor and Justin Fuller, Eidson drops down, trying to stay in front of his teammate here. He knows Justin Fuller wants the spot. You got to remember, yes, both drivers are teammates, but they are both on the outside looking in when it comes to the playoffs. So every position, every point matters here with just...
Oh, we got a slide job attempt here. Look at Fuller drive down in here. He's going to have to slide up and get the 9 checked up here. Here he goes. He's going to slide right up.
Fuller going to slide up. Jay Connor just behind him. Leighton Norgard clips the outside wall just barely there, currently running back in 6th. Still running very strong in that number 12 machine is Norgard. Ran up front for a good chunk of this race here thus far. Already 22 laps in the books, so the driver's doing a fantastic job of good, hard, clean racing here as Jay Connor going to try to battle back on the high side, not able to get there. Ethan Burrell going to dive to his inside. Tate Lytle likely to go with Ethan Burrell and try to work their way forward here towards that top 3 as Tyler popping into the picture as well.
I'm going to tell you what, that 25 car back there is running higher than I've seen anybody run yet. He was just ripping the fence back there in 1 and 2. I don't know if he's moving forward or backwards doing it.
Let's bring Josh Adams back into this. Josh, you see Seth Rawls running that high lane. Is there any advantage to that, or is that more he's kind of worn his stuff out, just searching for some sort of comfort on the racetrack?
I think if he took care of his stuff earlier, he could probably have an advantage from it. But right now, his only advantage would be just keeping speed up that the guys on the bottom aren't able to keep up.
Oh, no advantage in hitting the wall.
Yeah, that's not going to help you there. But yeah, his real only advantage is the center of the corner off.
Oh, we got contact. Tate Lytle and Jay Connor up there.
Oh, Ethan Stanley around.
See, Chad Frankenfield got a little bit of that piece of that too.
Oh, Gerald Campbell.
And we are under caution. Let's take a look at that one on the Rebilas photography replay machine. I believe Stanley just comes up off the bottom into the Seth Rawls machine and just hooks himself.
Yeah, it's almost like he didn't know he was there. You know, 25 did hit the wall, lost all kinds of momentum. It's almost like he thought he was going to get all the way to
go. Let's back that up further and maybe go to a blimp cam here, Nick Massey.
I think Chad netcoded through as well. I think he's going to be fine. But yeah, that was definitely just Ethan. He must have thought that he was going to clear the 25.
Yeah, he said it was hard to judge where the 25 was, being in the wall and everything, but even though it may not be
pretty good.
best, we've all got a spotter inside the car. That spotter definitely wasn't telling him clear, so just gotta be a little bit more heads up than that, and he was not.
And did Gerald ever check up for this wreck?
Oh, looks like we were still wrecking on the front stretch right there. Ethan Stanley still having trouble.
Yeah, I'm not sure what Gerald Campbell was doing right there.
Can we pull that wreck back up here, Nick, from Gerald Campbell? His onboard, please.
He lifted and then he was going back to the throttle, and a whole lot of throttle, 90% throttle there.
And just a note, of course, for you folks at home, Ethan Stanley has received a meatball penalty, which, of course, does mean that he has required damage.
So it's kind of what I see from Gerald. You hear him lifting, 'cause, he sees all the smoke and everything, and he thinks he's going to be okay to just kind of clear ease on the bottom, but then the 92 makes a hard left cut, whether that was on him or just based off of contact. He made a hard left cut, and Gerald just was there.
Not an ideal situation there for Gerald, that's for sure. Ethan Stanley has stayed out.
There he is.
Ethan Stanley stayed out here. He's going to lead a lap before he goes to start those repairs, but I believe he's already locked in, correct?
Stanley is locked into the final round, so this doesn't necessarily hurt him. So we take another look at it here. You see Stanley up behind the 20 or the 28 of cut lip. Couldn't really see much necessarily with Seth Rawls up on that outside wall, riding on board here with Gerald Campbell and his ridiculous photo.
Yeah, see, at this point the caution's out. Like Gerald,
I think Gerald's just trying to cut and avoid that wreck.
I do too, but I mean the caution was out well before he got there. There was no reason not to slow down and just let it happen and see where they went.
Yeah, the one thing is for sure is that he was definitely far enough back to just miss it on speed. He should have been much slower coming through, but
Absolutely.
I just think that a hard left cut he wasn't expecting, but still somewhat his fault for.
So Justin Fuller has picked the top.
Just a quick update on the top 10 here. Justin Fuller, Trey Einstein, Ethan Burrell, Tate Lytle, Leighton Norgard. The top 5, followed by Jake Connor, Tyler Fody, Tyler Pop, Braxton DeWeese, and Matthew Weeks. We have lost Gerald Campbell and Ethan Stanley.
David Tooker lagged out under this caution.
Tooker has rejoined.
On the pit stop, Garrison overshot his box a little bit, lost about 4 or 5 spots. He's going to restart 13.
This pace car is off here. We are getting set to go green once again through the Geico restart zone.
Major stack up.
Right here behind Jake Connor. Multiple cars pushing up on him here.
Tate Lytle's going to stay on the outside of Trey Eidson down the back. Going to get him stuck on the bottom. Tate should be able to complete the pass on the top if he's pushing hard. He does. He's going to get cleared.
Watching us side by side, boy. Sorry, Josh Adams. Watching a side-by-side here, Leighton Norgard, Tyler Pop up on the high side. Norgard down on the inside. Just behind them is where we find Braxton DeWeese, and I believe that to be Tyler Fody.
Tate Lytle going for the lead.
Shining off that car. Tate Lytle is up on the high side as Justin Fuller down running the white line. Tate Lytle edges out to the race lead. Justin Fuller right behind him. Trey Eidson currently trailing as Jesse Racimus goes for a bit of a slide down the back straight. He's able to gather it back up. Tate Lytle out front. He is your leader here on lap 29 with Trey Eidson looking to the outside of Justin Fuller. The battle behind them now is Ethan Burrell and Tyler Pop side by side. Battle for second among teammates here. The Aftermath Motorsports crew of Eidson and Fuller side by side. Fuller on the inside, Eidson up on the high side. Tyler Pop just behind them. Pop trying to follow through with Trey Eidson. Not able to get there. Jake Connor very slow on the restart, but has found the loud pedal. Now finds himself 7th out on the outside of Leighton Norgard. These two battled for the race lead earlier as Trey Eidson doing a little bit of a representation of a snake there as Jake Connor gets put into the outside wall there by Chad Frankenfield. Able to gather that back up as Frankenfield all over the rear end of that 9 machine. Are we going to see Chad wide here momentarily from that 15 as he tries to work his way forward?
And we're seeing Trey Eidson try to go get the lead back from Tate. This is great racing up here at the front, up there in about the first 10 cars or so.
Top 10, absolutely phenomenal here as we jump back up to the race lead battle here. It's Trey Eidson, Tate Lytle. Justin Fuller gets a little bit slideways there.
Well, I don't think he got sideways. I think he was trying to get him in front of that 9. He had to clear
Chad
up.
Frankenfield up to the high side. We're about to be Chad wide, boys. Chad on the outside. Jake Connor in the middle. Fuller comes up in front. That could have ended really
Look
bad.
at Fuller blocking.
Oh, Fuller's blocking. This is going to be hairy here. Chad doesn't like that too much as Frankenfield giving a little bit of a bump here to the Fuller machine. Now he goes to the outside of Justin Fuller. The aggression level by Fuller here in the first half of this one definitely high as Frankenfield on his outside, nearly contact down the back straight. Look at Tyler Pop, boys. He's worked his way up to second.
I'm going to tell you what, that 15 is not a car I would be blocking.
He's not afraid to send you. That's the thing.
How much are those tires screaming right
on
now?
the wall, though.
Yeah, how much are those tires screaming right now, Josh? On that 15 car?
They're screaming, but he's not hearing it.
Yeah, okay, are the tires or the competitors screaming louder right now?
Probably the competitor. We all know Chad. He's pedal to the metal. He's trying to get to the lead. It may not work in the long run, but you know we never know. He might catch the caution. He'll need to keep track position.
He is certainly digging there now up to second. Frankenfield just behind Trey Eidson. I don't think this is going to pay off for him whatsoever. I think this run forward definitely going to hurt that 15 more than anything. He's not just kicking the tires. He's going to be kicking himself a little bit later for pushing way too hard here in the
I'm going to tell you, though, he knows that the pit window opens in about 10 laps. If he can make these things last to 45 or 50 and then pit, and not get a caution the rest of the race, he'll be able to have a good shot to be on the right track.
It's going to be interesting as Frankenfield does clear out to 2/10 ahead of Trey Eidson here.
Yeah, and one thing I'd like to where these guys
Corey Abbott's around. Hard impact on the inside wall. Not going to get a caution for that.
Yeah, where these guys decide to race early in the run is all strategy. Like we see Chad go from where he was straight to the lead. Tate wanted the track position of the lead, but then he kind of just gave it back, running slow corner speeds to save his tires. And the 13's doing like half of a Chad thing right now. He probably doesn't usually run there, but he's not saving as much. But
I'm going to tell you,
third.
Corey Abbott's going to be pretty upset because he just was running around at the very back of the pack and somehow got wrecked and destroyed.
So I'm watching that here. The 85 of Kynan Jones is, I believe, Nick Matt. Looks black and white. There we go. As Kynan Jones in the 85 up on the high side. Looks like it's going to be massive net code that does lead to it there, but I still think the 85 would have come down into the 21 in that situation.
Yeah, the 85 definitely hit the wall. And the 21 is definitely dead. Where is Ryan at? Because we need somebody to be flown all the way to Halifax. As right now, Matthew Weeks, Vincent Isabella, Elate Norgard, 3 wide.
3 wide, as you just mentioned. Vincent Isabella sending it. Oh,
Wow.
Norgard. That got a little bit sketchy there. Norgard nearly into the side of Vincent Isabella. Frankenfield continuing to lead. Trey Eidson, Tate Lytle, Tyler Popp, and Ethan Burrell. That's your top 5. That is Fuller, Kaner, Isabella, Weeks, and Hogan. The top 10 is Vincent Isabella venturing up to that high end of the racetrack, just behind Jay Connor and Justin Fuller. Isabella going to get all over the rear end of that 9. We have a car on the outside wall a little bit further back. I believe that to be the Jaden Racimus machine. Just ahead of Kynan Jones. Actually, that's Rory Collins that just kissed the outside wall.
I'm curious, did you guys catch Chad playing any strategy during that pit stop? Because last time I looked before pit stops, he was running back there, not making much progress. He was about where he started the race, maybe +1 spot, comparing around 18, 17 spots.
So I think a big thing that aided Chad Frankenfield, Nick Massey, and I can't confirm it because I don't remember where he restarted on the restart, but I think Jay Connor's very slow restart helped the outside line get an incredible launch. There's Kynan Jones and Jaden Racimus nearly come together. But I think Chad Frankenfield able to take advantage of that, gain probably about 6 spots up on the high lane, and then put himself in a good spot, working that high side and cooking those tires maybe a little bit too much, and finds himself out front. But I don't think that's going to last long, as Trey Eidson now looks to his inside. They're side by side down into turn number 1. Tate Lytle just behind them. Tyler Popp and Ethan Burrell trailing them as they're going to continue this side-by-side battle off of turn number 2. Trey Eidson going to edge out to the race lead, and I really have to wonder how long Chad Frankenfield is going to be able to stay up in this top 5, top 10 once he loses this race lead, because I do think the tires have hit that cliff where they're about to fall off.
Yeah, and I will say this. I went back and looked at Chad. Let's remember, he was running about where he started, but 3 cars in front of him wrecked. Then we had people having pit stop troubles, like Josh mentioned, one of them being Garrison Hogan. And then he was in that outside lane when it all checked up. So he had a net gain of about 10 spots under that yellow because of who was in it, what happened on pit road, and then the restart. It all worked out well for Chad.
Also, for him, goes back to that strategy thing. It's just where guys want to run. It's really easy to make time early on the top when guys are parking it on the bottom to make sure they're not driving as hard as him. So those passes were real easy for him in the beginning.
And look at him, gas up in the middle, but this isn't going to stick. Look at him sliding. Good save, but net loss of a ton here. He's still losing.
Not nearly as easy after 10 laps.
And look how close he's running down there to those boys.
You got to think of the life of these tires, kind of like the cliff climbing guy on The Price is Right.
Fuller gets into the back of him, gets into the back of him again.
And
he's going to get into the back of him again.
They're going to be a tight 3 wide here.
Chad is not going to like somebody beating his back bumper, and there it is. Chad is not happy right now, getting drove through all the way through 1 and 2.
Chad actually just called out he's going to pit. So like Chris was saying, he uses all his tires in the beginning, and Chad's usually one of the guys we see pit first, so he's going to see what strategy works for him.
Somebody did just call pit stop, and it is Chad Frankenfield, like you guys mentioned. Fuller not afraid to tell Chad that he doesn't like his plans here.
Now I will say this: if I was Chad, I would have tried to make those tires last another 5 to 10, and then pit, because now he's going to need a caution on the backside of this. For sure. You're not going to win pitting here. This is just way too close. There's only about, what are we sitting here? About 12, 13 laps on the tires since the restart? So, he needed more than that, I think.
Nick Massey, when was the last pit stop?
Like about 16 laps to go for all these guys out here running. But not that long.
I would say we are at about a second and a half fall off already, or close to it for most guys. Tires just fall off way too fast at Fontana, I feel like, for Chad to really make any positive gains on that.
I will say this, if you want to see something crazy, let's get a Chad cam going, because he's blending right here, right behind this lead group, and he is going to be way faster, and we know how aggressive Chad likes to be.
Vincent Isabella going to pit in this time. Nick Massey, let's go on board with Chad Frankenfield here.
This is what new tires will do. He's going to feel like...
He's going to feel like he's the king.
Yeah, just completely insane how much faster
He's going by John Cutlip, who's no slouch here on his inside. He's going to pass him on the outside here like he's standing still, but he's coming up on some slower cars. Not slower cars, they're still up around the top 10. I don't know why, but I feel like he got that really tight.
Watch this. He's already had issues with Fuller here, and he's gonna send it on this bottom. Fuller's not gonna be too thrilled about this.
Now let's jump back up above here, Nick, and take a look as he navigates through what is some pretty heavy top 10 traffic here. Frankenfield diving to the inside of Matthew Weeks and Garrison Hogan 3 wide here. Now coming up on Jay Connor. Connor currently the 5th place car. They're going to be side by side down into turn number 1. Connor should lose that position as Vincent Isabella comes back out onto the racetrack from his pit stop. Frankenfield now up to the rear end of Ethan Burrell. Going to take to the inside of Burrell. Now has his sights set on Tyler Popp. The 3rd place machine goes to his inside. Chad Frankenfield definitely on the move here. Oh, as he nearly gets into Tyler Popp. I guess Popp nearly gets into him. Now he dives late under the inside of Trey Eidson. Some of these guys are going to remember these moves as well by Frankenfield a little bit later if they come together. Now he looks to the inside of Tate Lytle.
I will say this, I think
And
Vincent
they had issues
Isabella...
last week, don't forget.
I think Vincent Isabella did a way better job in and out. He is not very far behind Chad and pitted 2 or 3 laps later.
As Burrell and Popp nearly come together there, we see Vincent Isabella towards the rear trying to work his way forward. Justin Fuller slides up in front of Jay Connor now to the outside of Garrison Hogan as the battle's on for 3rd. Tyler Popp, Ethan Burrell, Justin Fuller now as you see him, Nick Massey trying to keep up here. Good work, Nick.
And speaking of Garrison Hogan, we mentioned that he had a pit stop malfunction. He restarted 13. He's up into the top 5 now.
Wow, look at Vincent Isabella. He just passed 7 cars in turn 1 and 2.
He's coming for more.
That was just, I mean, I know he's on fresher tires and he's a lap down to these guys right now, but still passing 7 cars in a corner is pretty incredible.
Now he's going to take to the inside. That's his teammate, Tyler Fody, just ahead of him. Looks to the inside of Fody. Going to pass him as if Fody's standing still.
Teammate or not, when you're on that much newer tires at a track like this, there's not much you can do to help your teammate. You just kind of got to pass him where you get to him. You're so much faster. And look at Ethan Burrell get loose trying to turn down and not come up in front of him. These guys are all well aware of fresh tires, of these guys just coming. Trey gave him the bottom there, didn't even turn down to the bottom, knew he was coming through. Now he's going to come around Tate and he's going to have clear track. Now the question is, when does everybody else start?
Ooh, that looked close, or it was Nick Massey changing cameras on us there. It looked as if Tate Lytle and Vincent Isabella nearly came together. But to answer your question, I would expect, honestly, probably in the next... This is tough.
They can run until about 10 to go or so.
Yeah, you're not going to want to wait till 10 to go, especially if the race is trending green. You don't want to wait too late.
Who's the worst running playoff guy who hasn't pitted?
Weeks.
And he's only 8th, so he's only 2nd. I was going to say if somebody was kind of having a struggle tonight, I would run it out and maybe catch a caution. See if I could catch a caution.
The only playoff driver outside the top 10 currently that's not Ethan Stanley is Chad Frankenfield.
And we know he's already pitted.
He already
Yeah.
pit. You think he pit too soon, though?
I thought so when he pitted. I thought he did. But if these guys run until, I'm gonna tell you what. If these guys run another 10 laps, I think 20 to go is too late to catch him. I don't think you're gonna be able to pit at 20 to go and catch Chad.
Realistically, I was thinking like 55.
Yeah, I think
down and
the next 5 laps is when I would pit and cover Chad, because if you wait until 20 to go or less, man, that's gonna be.
let's jump back
Chad's
up
beating
front
him
here.
by-
Looks like we're about to have a battle for the race lead. Trey Eidson catching in on Tate Lytle.
I mean, if you pitted right now, you'd be what, 15, 17 seconds
What would
behind
you
Chad.
do in this case, Josh? And Nick, you could chime in here too. You've been pretty good at these racetracks.
I'm not necessarily going to say what I would do. I was just going to counter Chris. I think Chad's like, he's too far back anyway. He's not going to win regardless of when these guys pit. Like I mentioned earlier, I feel like the lap time falls off too quick for it to be a super advantage. Like, I think he's probably going to be he's probably already close to running level with what these guys are running right now. So I don't think it's nearly as long of an advantage as he needs.
Well,
I will say this: he's still beating him by a second a lap.
pretty good chunk of time right now. I think he just pitted too early. Personally, I would have rather split it right down the middle. Maybe short pitch a little bit, but I think he kind of did the undercut a little to the extreme here. I think he's going to be kind of hung out to dry here when these guys decide to pit.
But what do you think these guys need to do, for both of you, to counter that and to get back to him? I think if they wait until 20 to go, it's too late.
I think if they wait until they pit at 20 to go, they'll all be just fine.
Chad's still beating everyone by a second a lap. My thing is, I think if they all pit together and they're racing each other after the pit stop, and I don't know, I think the longer they wait to pit, the better for Chad. Cutlip just queued up. He might be pitting this time. No, Cutlip is not, but Michael Goodman's going to come in. Tate Lytle's still sitting right in front of Trey Eidson. They got a little bit of a gap to Tyler Pop, Garrison Hogan, Ethan Burrell, Justin Fuller, Tyler Fody, Weeks, Cutlip, Rawls. All these guys are still running really, really close.
As we see Trey Eidson closing that gap here on Tate Lytle. We see Michael Goodman on pit road as well. So another driver coming down. Not one of our front runners as of yet, but I do anticipate over the next, I thought it'd be about now, but I'd say in the next 5 laps for sure, you'll see these guys down pit road for what should be the final stop of the night. Garrison Hogan, Tyler Pop side by side. That's the battle for third. Ethan Burrell behind Garrison Hogan trying to help him out here, get by the Tyler Pop machine. What a drive by Tyler Pop tonight. Great run here in that number 13 machine. Probably one of his best races of the season thus far. Been in that top 10, top 5 pretty much all race long, and we're now just 25 to go. As you do see the, I believe it's Engtal sponsored number 13 machine of Tyler Pop there on your screen.
Yeah, it looks like they've got him shuffled to the top.
Fuller and Fody nearly made contact there.
And here comes Tires behind him too.
Back. Yes, Tires are coming.
And they're 3 wide. Jesse's going to have nowhere to go. I hope he's got to recognize. Got to recognize that he can't just drive through here like he normally could.
Jake Connor indicates that he's going to come down pit road this time. Tyler Pop up into the outside wall. Nearly an incident there on the racetrack. Fuller, Fody, Racimus, Burrell, Weeks all there under a blanket with that Tyler Pop machine. Fody nearly turns himself off the front end of the Jesse Racimus machine. I believe Tyler Pop just hit the outside wall. No, he's just getting very close to it as he now falls back. Tyler Fody going to tuck in behind Ethan Burrell as Matthew Weeks goes to the inside of Tyler Pop here. Jesse Racimus does clear. Garrison Hogan now tells him to go low to go on by. So Hogan going to tuck back in. Fuller coming back up to Fody. Nearly gives him a nudge mid-corner there. That could have been hairy and probably pretty angry incident between the 40 and the 55.
Yeah, and if Trey can't get the pass for the lead done on tape pretty soon, it's I think only gonna be a matter of time before the 1 and 2 are running 1-2. Garrison coming pretty quick.
And boys, I'm not sure if the 12 is going to get a penalty right here. He came out of pit road side by side with the 9, and he might have blended too soon.
The 07 of Jaden Racimus picked up a penalty, as did a Leighton Norgard.
Yeah, I saw that happen there, and so tough to come out of pit road side by side. But you cannot blend too soon as Ethan Burrell comes back to pit road, or comes to pit road. Leighton Norgard comes back to pit road behind him. So Leighton's good run is going to get ended there with that green flag penalty. And Josh and Nick and Robert, yourself, you guys know, explain to the people just how hard it is to blend at some tracks, and this one especially, where you can't just run hard leaving pit road. You have to be kind of careful.
Yeah, a lot of the...
Oh, go ahead, Josh.
Say a lot of the aprons are really slick and they're really narrow, so you can't just run full throttle on them, and if you do, you're probably not going to make it. We see Tate Lytle coming to pit road from the lead.
Lytle comes down, locks it down. Trey Holmes coming down as well. I believe that's Braxton DeWeese behind him. John Cutlip indicates that he's coming pit side as well. Garrison Hogan is also coming. I do believe Ethan Burrell now re-entering the racetrack.
Yeah, and after Tate, I think we'll see the rest of the top 5 come in this lap. You can't let Tate run out there on his new tires.
It's going to be, this is right when I said they needed to pit by. We'll see. I think Chad Frankenfield's going to have about a 15 or a 20-second lead.
Look at the tires there for Jay Connor as your leader, Trey Eidson, heads pit side. He comes down, brings Matthew Weeks and a very quick John Cutlip with him. 20 laps to go, and the leaders are on pit road for what should be the final pit stop of the night.
Well, not all of them. Garrison Hogan, Tyler Fody, Justin Fuller, Seth Rawls.
No pit stop for them.
These guys are still out here running. I'm not sure this is a good call for them to still be running.
Garrison Hogan, Seth Rawls both indicate that they're coming down this time.
Now, Fody might stay out one more to lead a lap. I mean, if you went this far.
Looks like he's going to stay out.
Oh, Hogan's hot. Did he get it woed up?
Speeding penalty on Garrison Hogan. Black flag, Garrison Hogan. He did not get it woed up.
Wow.
That's big playoff implications.
And we see Chad has
And
about
he slides through.
seconds
Garrison
on
Hogan
speed.
also slid through. Not this terrible green flag cycle here for Garrison.
Frankenfield now up to 6th here. Moves himself to what could potentially be the race lead, should potentially be the race lead here, as Fody's on pit road. Fuller leads. Dustin Dewar now coming out to the race lead. You see Fuller here backing it off. Do you think can he make it to the end? I don't think so.
There's no way. Not from where he pitted.
He's doing something.
These guys, you can only make it to, I think, about between 8 and 10 laps to go. He says
he's just indicated he's going to pit.
I think if you're still out at this point, like Dewar and Johnny Thomas, and maybe some other guys that haven't gotten to the lead yet, you're just hoping the caution comes out that puts you in the lead after pit stops.
And I'm not sure how fast Garrison Hogan was, but he just
I
had
think
to sit
Fuller
there
just came in hot too.
Oh yeah.
And he got it woed down in time. No penalty there for
penalty.
Justin Fuller. Hogan absolutely shot himself in the foot with his pit entry and his box entry as well, as you mentioned, Chris, right, where he just slid through the box. So unfortunate for Garrison Hogan. Gonna need a caution if he wants a chance to even think about getting back into the picture here.
Now, I'm going to say this. We've talked about all these guys need to cover each other for pit stops. I like what Dustin Dewar, Johnny Thomas, these guys are here just to win. They're not racing for points anymore. Let's just try to run as far as we can. Try to catch a caution, maybe win the race.
I agree, and one thing I'm also looking at here, Chris, is Chad didn't have a big of a lead as kind of you were thinking there. We kind of expected like a 50-second lead or so. He only had about an 8 to 10-second lead. That's already getting up really quick.
Yeah. I wonder, do you think Chad might have been saving a little bit?
No, I think he probably came out and ran just as hard coming out of the pits as he did on the restart, and it doesn't help you long term.
No, you look at it right now, looking at the times, you gotta disregard Dustin Dewar, Johnny Thomas, Conan Jones. Of course, good job for them running top 3 right now. But Frankenfield will come out as the race leader once they all pit. Jesse Racine is closing in, but you have to look at Tate Lytle, Ethan Burrell, Jay Connor, and Trey Eidson all just behind him that are pretty much just going to take over that race lead very, very soon here. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Chad Frankenfield. Yeah, you look at it there. Jesse Racine is quicker than Frankenfield here continuously by 7 to 8, even a second quicker than Frankenfield over the last 5 laps.
I will say this, though. A caution will change everything. I think these front 3 could probably still run another 5, 6 laps, maybe. A caution anytime in the next 5 or 6 laps, this race is going to be totally different. It's going to take on a totally different look than what we've had all night.
Well, we'll see, Chris. Unless those 2 guys, Dewar and Thomas up front, were just trying to win an Oscar, 5 or 6 laps ago, they said they could make it, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that's what I heard, too. I think they were just trying to get these boys riled up, because I don't see any way.
I just received a message telling me to keep an eye on the 91 because people think he can actually make it to the end.
I don't know how. Did he pit after everybody else?
He pit on lap 27.
And we were talking they could barely get to halfway, so...
He's 41 laps in already. He can't make it 54 laps.
Look, I'm
There's
not
no
going
way.
to pull. I'm not
Can
going
he?
to say I'm pulling for somebody over another. We're unbiased up here.
I would love to see something
But,
like that happen.
Yeah, if these 2 could finish it off and run 1-2 and make it on fuel, that would be pretty cool.
This is going to be interesting, man. I don't know I don't think they can do it.
We see Tate going to Chad right as we speak.
And that 91 car, that's Belly Up Sports. They're coming on board with us next season here at the Elite Racing Network and the Elite Racing Series. So get ready for a whole lot of new things, a lot of different looks, new people.
Well,
Great new sponsorship there.
I must say, actually, since you're on the topic of that, we got to shout out our sponsors here. We haven't had a chance to talk about them today. We have to thank TA Services, Blue Egg Marketing. Blue Egg is the marketing department for small businesses, as well as Worldwide Technology Raceway, home to a 1.25-mile oval, 2-mile road course, quarter-mile drag strip, and a state-of-the-art karting facility known as the Kartplex. Check out Worldwide Technology Raceway today. And, of course, for all your photography needs, check out Rebilasphoto.com. Mark J. Rebilas for all your photography needs.
Hey, I got a quick question here for you. You know where he is this weekend?
He was at drag racing.
That's right. Way to ruin the whole thing. Yeah, we reached out and told him, we need to know where he's at all the time so we can talk about it. He was at the drags this past weekend, so he had a great time shooting some motorsports over there. Where were the drags? Anybody know?
America. I have no idea.
That I couldn't tell you. We like to watch cars turn left, not go straight for 3 seconds.
Oh, man.
Well, 10 laps to go. Dustin Dorr, Johnny Thomas still on the racetrack. Kynan Jones did pit. So, top car that has pit is Tate Lytle, just about a second ahead of Ethan Burrell. But we have to keep an eye on Dustin Dorr and Johnny Thomas. See if
I think it's poker.
I believe Dustin Dorr just indicated he's pitting this time.
I just don't see any way they can make it. I didn't see it. It would have been great for them to catch a caution. Johnny's still running.
They still might. They still might, as Dustin Dorr does come pit side.
Ain't nobody making it without a yellow. Like, a yellow is what Johnny needs.
So we see Dustin, he did make pit speed, but it was a very ugly entrance. He saved it, though.
Oh, Jesse Racines gets into Matthew Weeks back here. Everybody survives.
Chad in the picture here, 3 wide. Jay Connor on the high side, Weeks in the middle, Frankenfield down low. Frankenfield was pushing up, trying to block that run up through the middle here. Just 9 laps remaining for Johnny Thomas, who leads by about 16 seconds over Tate Lytle. Frankenfield falls back to 9th here.
Yeah, I'm thinking Johnny wants to hear cautions out. I'm thinking Chad wants to hear the same thing.
I have a feeling just about everybody but Tate Lytle wants to hear cautions out right now.
Yeah,
Here comes Johnny Thomas.
Here as Johnny comes down pit road. That'll hand the lead over to Tate Lytle here as he leads by just over a second over Trey Eidson. Fody moves ahead of Matthew Weeks. That will be for 4th as your top 3 as they run now. Well, in a moment, will be Tate Lytle, Trey Eidson, Ethan Burrell. Tyler Fody, Matthew Weeks will be the top 5 as Thomas serves his pit stop here. Not a penalty, but a pit stop. Great effort by Johnny Thomas and Dustin Dorr to try to make it to the end. It was just a bit too far to go.
And still, they should probably blend back on the lead lap. And if a caution comes out, they'll just stay out and see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. This could still pay off in some way for them. As Johnny Thomas does come back onto the racetrack, he's going to be just on the lead lap.
And one thing I'll go ahead and say is when we're throwing around the elite rewards postseason, we can just go ahead and give Johnny and Dustin an elite Oscar because they at least had us talking about it.
Absolutely. As we look back at the lead, coming to 5 to go this time, Trey Eidson is in second. Just under a second behind Tate Lytle. You see him in the mirror there just behind Garrison Hogan. Hogan 1 lap down due to an unfortunate sequence of events on pit road there a little bit earlier tonight. They ended up costing him a speeding penalty and he slid through his box. So not a great time there for Garrison Hogan and not what he needed as he is on the outside looking in when it comes to
Caution's out.
Caution is out. Kynan Jones.
Oh, man. I was just about to say last week we thought it was over. It was tame. Everything was going on.
As we take a look at the Rebilas photography replay machine.
Right in front of Johnny Thomas.
Oh, no. That doesn't look good.
Yeah, that was, before anybody else calls it, that was the most intentional caution I've ever seen in my life. I can't...
I think he towed.
I can't
That looks
saying
terrible.
necessarily was going through his head, but he shifted down and blew that thing up to spin it out.
Yeah.
So definitely got us. We're already talking about it. He won't be racing next weekend.
Yeah, and I think, do we have a commercial? Can our new producer throw it to commercial here? Get our one.
Yeah, let's toss it to the iRacing or the TA Services commercial here, Nick Massey.
Yes, we can. Throw it to our sponsor.
Isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
And we are back here. It is the California 160 live from Auto Club Speedway. My name is Robert Hill Jr., joined by Nick Massey, Chris Wright, and Josh Adams. We're coming around to a restart here, which will be a green-white checker. Johnny Thomas, your leader on one-lap old tires, ahead of Trey Idson, Seth Rawls, Dustin Dewar, Tate Lytle, Braxton DeWeese, Ethan Burrell, Tyler Fody, Justin Fuller, and Matthew Weeks.
And let me just say here,
off of the pace car.
it will be a green-white checker, but this is a regulation green-white checker, so we could do this 4 times instead of 3.
Shout out to the drivers, though, Chris. 2 cautions so far.
And just to catch everybody up, too, Johnny Thomas stayed out, Trey Idson, Seth Rawls, Dustin Dewar are on 2. Tate Lytle is on 4. I believe Braxton DeWeese also took 2. Yeah, Braxton DeWeese is on 2.
This is going to be interesting, boys. Oh, Chad says he has a shot to win the race, and he's not even in the top 10.
He's 15th, and he's talking about a shot to win. This is going to be great. You guys got your popcorn ready?
Yep.
Well, the thing working against Chad this time is everybody's not going to go park it on the bottom. Everybody's going for the win this
Everyone's
time.
full sending here. Let's be real.
So one thing about these guys taking 2 is Johnny Thomas actually has fresher lefts by a good bit than these boys. So we'll see what happens.
Johnny Thomas on the inside, Trey Idson on the high side, Seth Rawls, Dustin Dewar behind them. Pace car is off as we watch Johnny Thomas head towards the Geico restart zone. I expect an early jump here, and he goes late as he's on the loud pedal. Green flag, we're back underway. Just 2 laps to go, and it's JT out front. He clears up to the high side ahead of Idson. Seth Rawls goes to the inside. They're going to battle it out for second here as Johnny Thomas tries to clear forward. Seth Rawls with a great lunge. Dustin Dewar up to the outside wall. He's going to fall back. Here comes Rocket Man. Seth Rawls to the inside. Trey Idson trying to bully his way down to the bottom. As we're heading towards turn number 3, here comes Chad. We're going to go almost Chad wide towards the rear of the field. We're going to face the white flag this time. Trey
Idson going to get loose from the top.
He's going to slide up. Johnny Thomas, your leader, contact. Tate Lytle through the middle. White flag is out. Johnny Thomas leads here with 1 lap to go. Next flag will end the race, and it should be the checkered flag as Ethan Burrell in the middle back there between Trey Idson and Seth Rawls. We're going to keep our eyes on Johnny Thomas, your race leader, as he's going to try to hold off Tate Lytle.
Oh, wrecking behind him. Seth Ross, Justin
big wreck
Fuller. We got to
behind.
watch the
Let's
finish.
keep an eye on the front here as Johnny Thomas ahead of Tate Lytle. It's not Trey Holmes. I don't know why I'm calling him that here today. Tate Lytle to the high side. Ethan Burrell behind him. Johnny Thomas on the inside. It's going to be a 3-car battle to the line. Johnny Thomas has the advantage. He gives him a nudge here. Johnny Thomas into Tate Lytle. Johnny Thomas! Oh my gosh, what a strategy.
What a finish.
That was incredible, boys.
What they will say there, Tate played very nice. He could have, anybody other than Johnny, he probably wins that race.
I have a
That
feeling
was
this one's going to be pretty
incredible.
popular.
We had big playoff implications happen there on the last lap. Justin Fuller is going to finish 19th.
Can
We
we
gotta
go
go
back
back
and
and
watch
take a
that
look
wreck
at that,
here, Nick,
yeah.
please? Look at everyone celebrating with the 91.
Ooh,
Oh
Justin
my
Fuller
gosh,
tried
yeah.
to squeeze through the middle there. 25 was struggling.
I think Rawls comes up.
Oh, and Trey Eidson gets into that too.
What was that?
Justin Fuller and Trey Eidson.
Back that up again here. Maybe go to a blimp cam, Nick. Yeah,
That
I
is
see the
not
25
good.
comes up.
Not good for the two teammates there. Everybody else kind of kept going. Those two teammates.
I can't believe
Wow.
Johnny Thomas just did that, boys.
Kind of looks like the 25 isn't fully aware they're 3 wide right there. Just
I think the 25 was sliding too. It looked like he was pretty loose.
Obviously, you want to go for every spot and get the best finishing position possible, but you hope the 25 is paying attention. But it was a really aggressive move, especially with your teammate on the outside of it.
Bodie and Weeks able to squeak through. Really, just the 2 team cars are the 2 playoff contenders that are involved in this thing.
Yeah, I think that might be more of a racing deal. The 55 made an aggressive move. The 25 definitely was loose. And who's to say they didn't maybe make some net code when Fuller... You know what I mean? When Fuller got to his right rear initially, that looks like when the 25 gets loose is when Fuller gets to that right rear. Just super close. Tell you what, Tyler Fode still has that golden horseshoe there. Look at Fode get through that wreck on the backstretch. Absolutely incredible how lucky that he gets sometimes.
Barely hangs on to that thing. We'll take a look again at the run of the finish here.
I thought Tate had him right here with 4 tires versus 2. Or versus none, but Johnny did pit real late, so he had some grip down there.
Yeah, I know we talked about them playing nice. Tate and Johnny are really good friends off the track. The one mistake Tate would have made, I think, in my eyes, was staying high off of 2 and not cutting it low, and Johnny got loose through 1 and 2.
What a drive, though, by Johnny Thomas. Does look like we have Tate Lytle standing by in the waiting room if we want to go ahead and pull him in for an interview here with Chris Wright and Josh Adams. Actually, Ethan Burrell here first. There's our 3rd place driver, so why don't we go ahead and start with him.
All right, we are now joined by Ethan Burrell, who I believe is still muted, so we'll wait a second.
We'll talk to Tate.
All right, now we are joined by Tate Lytle. Tate, it was a great race. We thought it was settled just like last week. We get that late caution. We got no tires, 2 tires, 4 tires. Take us through your whole race and then everything there on the last lap.
Hey, I was obviously, I think Trey was going to catch me a little bit more, but I don't think he was going to catch me. And so I was pretty in the clear, I thought, and then that caution came out. And damn it, Johnny Thomas I don't know how he made a great block. Hold on, these guys are I'm losing my train of thought. They're talking too much. So let's say I'm gonna watch the last lap back. So I get a run off 2. He blocks it, and if that thing has a 15 or a 91 on the side of it, he is face first to the fence, right? So then we're coming down the backstretch, and he slows me down so much, Ethan gets below me, so I can't even dive to the bottom. And I thought I had the speed on the top to like get him, but he got back to the gas just in time, and we were like in a dead heat coming off the corner. I was trying to side draft him and made a little bit of contact, but goddamn. Well, I guess not 91. Whatever number, you know what I'm saying. Not Johnny Thomas. That's not what I meant. But that is, yeah, that was a crazy finish. How about old Johnny?
Yeah, that was great to see Johnny Thomas, Belly Up Sports, get that win. But were you aware that he only had 1 lap on his tires?
Well, he just pitted, yeah. I mean, I knew he didn't have more than 2 or 3. So I knew it was going to be not easy to get by him. And obviously I had, people in the chase behind me. I had Ethan and Fody, and I don't know, the 77 was there until he got wrecked, and the 55, I can't remember who all else, but so I knew they were going to be going full speed ahead too. And I don't know, this is probably like my 4th second place finish this track. Normally it's the Fody, which sucks a lot more than this, but how about old Johnny Thomas, dude? That's awesome. Like the last time I saw him win was that Daytona 500, and I was hyped for him then, and me and him have been racing each other since literally probably 2014. And he's the only reason I ever got back into this, come like probably 2017, 2018. He's the only reason I even got back on. I got back on iRacing, was just screwing around, saw him in some practice session. He invited me to a league, and I've just kind of been hooked on it again since. So I was, I don't know, I might be more happy finishing second. Don't think I didn't try, because I was trying my ass off. But I might be more happy finishing second tonight than I would have been if I would have beat him by 1,000. That's pretty darn cool. Love that dude. He's one of the best. Shout out Brett Wednesday's Gone By, Vintage Racing Apparel. Shout out my dad if he's still watching. I know he likes to listen. And Lauren and the kids too if they're watching. I doubt. Maybe Louise, but the rest of them definitely not. But yeah, I mean, I can't complain. I had the speed to win, had it won. Kasha came out. One of my best buddies came up and stole it from me. So I mean, I really can't complain too much.
Well, congrats on the run, Tate. I'll hand it off to Josh and Nick and Robert here to see if they got anything for you.
Yeah, just take the one thing I'll say. I picked you to win, so I was on a high horse there for a minute, and I know I called it a mistake on the broadcast, but you mentioned how you thought you were going to be able to run around his outside. Did you not sweep low off a 2 after he got loose because you just thought you'd get him in 3 and 4 up high?
No, I tried going low and he blocked me.
Well, I would say initially off a 2. You went low when you got back straight, but you could have swept low pretty early.
I had such a run in the line I was in. I was kind of hoping I was going to get to his right rear before he could do anything, and I almost did. I mean, it was an inch or 2. And then I tried diving low once that happened because I knew I'd still have a little bit more of the momentum. And he got right in front of me, killed all my momentum, and then obviously I gassed it in the middle of 3 and 4. I guess hindsight, I probably should have waited just a second to gas it in 3 and 4, but I don't know. I did what I thought I could there, coming to the, well, I guess the whole last lap. So.
Nick, Robert, you guys got anything here for Tate?
I think you guys covered it.
Well, hey.
Good run, man. You had it won. You made Josh look right for a long time until he wasn't, and then you ended up finishing second to Johnny. And I remember how excited you were for the 500. And I think you coming in here tonight when we pulled you up and we heard a little bit of it there. I think you're more excited finishing second than you were for winning.
Yeah. No, that's cool. I'm gonna pull Ethan up because I want to go give Johnny some you know what. But hell yeah.
All right,
Now,
that
your
was-
third place finisher, Ethan Merrill.
Well, and you heard the introduction there from Tate. I thought he might stick around and give the interview, but I guess not. Ethan, you had a solid run tonight. I never thought you were one of the guys that could get up there and win it. You know, it looked like the 55 and the 2, and a couple of those guys were a little bit better than you. And then, of course, we got that late caution that we always get here in Elite, and ended up a little bit of a crapshoot there at the end. So take us through your race, and then ultimately that green-white checker.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think I was about 4th all race. Yeah, 277. Those guys were stout. I was just kind of trying to keep up with them, keep my tires under me, and I mean, even that that long run. You know, if we didn't get that late yellow, I think I was running like 4th anyway. So I'll take it. Ended up 3rd after the caution, so I guess I was +1 for where I was running all day. But yeah, it was good. Long run pace was solid. I was getting too loose on the exit of the corners, and it was really hard to pass people on the bottom. So I kind of ended up stuck where you're at, unless you're just that much quicker than them. But hey, I mean, another good solid run. Obviously, I want to be locked in, especially after last week. But I know it's good points, so we'll go after him again next week.
Yeah, and you mentioned good points there. You know, that last lap wreck kind of worked out in your favor then to advance into the championship, because you had a couple guys, mainly the 55 and the 77, the two teammates kind of were racing aggressive around one another, and it got both of them wrecked and finished 19th and 20th. So I think that's set you up pretty well going into that next race, right?
Yeah, I actually didn't even know that. I was eyes forward trying to make a 3-wide move. I didn't even know they crashed. So yeah, that's awesome. I know those guys were. I mean, it sucks for them, man. I mean, they were stout, but for the sake of my season, I mean, that's awesome. You know, it was going to be hard to gain any points on those guys. You know, I mean, any race, but especially tonight. So I'll take it where I can get it.
All right, Ethan, congrats on your run. I'll hand you off here to Josh, Nick, and Robert, see what they got for you.
Yeah, Ethan, good finish, good run. My only question for you really is, if you thought you were going to be parking it in victory lane when you saw those two start going at it down the back straightaway. But the other thing to that is they probably put on a clinic for how that kind of race is supposed to be done. So what were you thinking when you saw them running the way they were down the back straightaway?
Oh man, all I could think was how I was gonna force at 3 and beat them. I wish I would have gotten a better run out of 2 to be able to react to what they were doing down the back. But I was expecting it to get dicey, and I really wanted to just ship it down into 3, but Johnny covered it on the entry, just like he needed to, and I wasn't going to be able to get underneath him, but I was trying everything I could. If I would have got a better run out of 2 and gotten next to them before turn 3, I think we could have made something happen. But either way, man, that's awesome for Johnny. I'm excited for him to get up in here and talk to you guys, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ethan, before we let you go, any sponsors you want to thank or shout outs you want to give?
Yeah, all the guys at Pro Edge Racing, Tate Lytle as well. He was stout. I know he's pumped that Johnny won, but that doesn't take away the fact of how fast Tate was all night. So big shout out to him, and Betty and my mom for watching, and thanks to JD Designs for making the paint scheme, and my best buddy Austin.
Well, that is your third place finisher, Ethan Burrell. Congratulations on a good run tonight, Ethan, and we'll see you next round out.
All right, thanks, guys.
And finally, the man of the hour, standing by with Chris Wright, your winner here tonight, Johnny Thomas.
Well, Johnny Thomas, did not think we'd be talking to you once the yellow didn't fall and you had to pit. Then you got that timely yellow. Talk to us about your race, everything that you did leading up to there to that restart, and ultimately putting that belly up sports machine in victory lane.
Yeah, how about that? We got ourselves a win. You guys
don't
can't believe it, right?
Was chairgating. You got no chairgating stickers on there.
Yeah, I'm speechless. I'm sure all you guys were. Man, it is so hard to win these things. The competition is out of this world. I have went, since I've been racing 4 or 5 years in Elite now, 11, 12 years on the sim. I've went from, talent-wise, probably a top 10 driver to 10th to 15th. It just keeps getting better and better each year, each season, and to get a victory, man, it's you don't get them. Guys like me, they don't get them too often, especially at a non-play track, not Daytona and Talladega, winning here at California. But don't get me wrong, I wasn't the fastest car today. We were saving fuel, kind of saving tires, that first caution or second caution around lap 15 to 20, and actually it was a little bit more, like 20 to 25. But I just kind of rode around the back behind Goody, 23rd, 24th, and saved enough tires to be competitive as the run went on. and we didn't pit. We were just going to keep going, hoping for that caution. I didn't think we'd get it after we pitted, but I was just hoping for the caution. Debated whether I should take 2 tires and jump a couple spots, just, salvage a 16th, 17th place day, or take 4 tires, hope for a caution to come out right after I pit. And lo and behold, I don't know, it was 85 or somebody that spun out about a lap and a half after I pitted. I coasted. I don't know if you guys see it, but I hardly ran at full speed those last 2 laps before the caution came out, because I was just saving my tires in hopes that a caution would come out, and he spun out right in front of me. Stayed out, and it's good to form good relationships with a lot of these guys, and Tate and Ethan. They've raced me clean. I've known Tate, longer than pretty much anybody in this server. And he's super, respectful, and I knew that he wasn't going to do anything dirty. He was going to race me clean, and he did that. And Ethan is the same way. You get up front, and the respect level goes up. But man, I'm in victory lane. I can't believe it.
Yeah, you're in victory lane, and you said your talent level isn't what it used to be. You're still just as talented. You're just not as aggressive as some of these other guys out here who kind of don't care who they have to hit, and you're not that guy.
Yeah. No, Becky's up here. Becky, I won!
Well, I'm going to hand you off here to Josh, Nick, and Robert and see what they got for you.
She don't care.
You want to come on and do an interview?
I don't think so.
All right, well, Johnny, congrats. Big win for you. But
yeah,
I had a few things for you. I know, one, I don't know if you've went back and watched the replay. You probably got the most generous caution we've ever seen. We let that be known in the broadcast. 2, I know you hit on it, how you said you've kind of been coming up, and how I know I've been your teammate, and like I've had firsthand experience where you tell the people that come on your car that they're probably not going to win, but you're going to run about 8th or 10th.
That's right.
We all now think, even before this, you have the talent to win probably just about anywhere. But how good does it feel, one, just to win a track like you said that's not Daytona or Talladega?
Oh man, the 3-Wide Racing League just kicked back up tonight. I think they're running, and that was the last time I ever won a non-late track. So it's been a long time. 7-8 years, I want to say. So I don't say that I put a lot of effort into these things, but I don't practice. I jump on 30 minutes before the race starts, before qualifying, and that's my practice. I don't spend a whole lot of time on this thing, and in order to get better, you got to. A couple weeks ago, I was really frustrated with Fody, and I told everybody that he's on this a lot, and in order to be good at this, you have to be on it a lot. And want to take my words back on that one. I'm still upset with him, because now, heck, if I would have won, I've been in the Final 4 or whatever. So that's disappointing, but it's not a big deal. But it's I try to get the most out of league racing, and in turn I try to help out the leagues that I'm in, trying to get Belly Up Sports, trying to get all my sponsors. I've had these sponsors for a long time, and they don't win races, but they get a lot of exposure through social media, and through Elite, and previously with Erska, and then long time ago with 3-Wide. So I try my best to get the most out of what we got.
Yeah, and I would say too, like, you're definitely probably one of the best when it comes to the whole sponsorship thing, so that's cool. And then my other question I wanted for you was, have you cracked open a cold one yet? And then I also told Tate that you guys put on a clinic for how that kind of race is supposed to happen. So it's cool to get guys racing up at the front at the end of a race that actually have respect for each other. We don't just end up with a crapshoot like we have a lot of times. So that's very cool to see.
I appreciate it. Yeah, that's how racing should be. You don't want to have wrecks, green white checkers, and green white checkers after green white checkers. Like I mentioned, a few weeks back, the respect level has went down, but when you see races like that and you put a group of drivers that's been running together for a long time, the respect level goes up. But as far as the beer question, it's coming. I got a whole bunch of Lone Star downstairs I'm going to crack open. I typically have one. I'm allowed to drink and drive, but allowed to drink and drive in sim racing, and I usually have one. But I didn't grab one, so maybe I'll quit drinking while I'm running these things. I just got water, but I'll crack open a beer in about, I don't know, as soon as I'm done with this interview.
Cool. All of us here and all your other fellow competitors will probably be checking out X later to see if you put that on video.
You know it. It's been a long time.
Yeah, and I gotta say, it's great to see the Belly Up sports car win when Belly Up's coming on board. Great for you to win. You know, maybe go and win there in the 500.
For sure.
And back when you won your 500, it wasn't just a crapshoot race at Daytona. It took some skill to win that race with the package we had. So you're pretty good at that plate racing when it takes a little bit of skill and it's not just all the crapshoot that like we've seen here in the last few times.
Yeah, like I mentioned, a couple weeks ago, Belly Up Sports coming on board. I'm kind of the link between Belly Up and Elite, and I want to gather ideas from Mike Brown at Belly Up, gather ideas from Chad at Elite, and kind of put those in together. Belly Up is an awesome organization. BellyUpSports.com, Twitter, Belly Up Sports. There's going to be a lot of awesome things coming, and it all benefits the drivers. And Elite, it'll take Elite to another level, and it'll take Belly Up Sports to another level, just because how popular the Elite Racing League is.
Was Mike watching tonight?
I don't know, man. He typically is disappointed with how I run. So California Auto Club, he probably wasn't, but I'm going to make sure he watches this replay. I say watch the last 5 laps.
That's right. You did some drive. That was a great drive there at the end.
Yeah,
Great photo finish.
Yeah.
Great publicity. Going to go win 2 in a row next week, right?
Where are we at?
Atlanta.
Old Atlanta.
Heck yeah. I'll go win it.
All right,
Silence. There's silence.
No, you
Before
won't.
we let you
We'll all
go.
pick you next week. We'll all pick Johnny Thomas next week. That's the rule. Whoever shows up
Absolutely.
to the broadcast. If Josh Adams shows up again, Nick, Robert, myself, we're just all picking Johnny Thomas next week.
There we go. Yep. 2 for 2.
Before we let you go here tonight, Johnny, any sponsors you want to thank, shout-outs you want to give?
Yeah. Like I said, Belly Up Sports, man. They've been on for a long, long time. I got a bunch of other sponsors that's partnered with Belly Up: Canadips, Manscaped, Righteous Felon. They haven't got a victory. They haven't got hardly any tough hawks, but they're on my cup car. And you guys did an awesome job. The Monday booth is spectacular. Nick, Chris, Robert producing, Josh, you joining today. It's been great. But everybody at Elite, Chad putting on this thing. Chad gets a lot of flack, and he puts on a platform that we can all run, and he does a dang good job at it.
And you didn't say it, so I will. The races are way better with us up here than on the racetrack, right?
No comment. You guys do a pretty good job running. You don't cause any fusses.
Well, congratulations, Johnny Thomas. A popular
you.
win here today, and can't wait to see you back in victory lane soon.
Heck yeah, gonna celebrate.
Absolutely enjoy. Well, guys, that was our winner here tonight, Johnny Thomas, and that'll just about do it for us here from Auto Club Speedway. Any final thoughts from you guys?
Man, Johnny Thomas, right? That's got to be the thought. Johnny Thomas comes out here in the playoffs, in a playoff race where all we're talking about is playoff drivers and what they need to do to advance, and Johnny plays the strategy card perfectly. Maybe thought his shot to win was over when the caution didn't come out, but caution came out right after he left pit road, and he won the race. I think that's the only thing. Johnny Thomas, Belly Up Sports, great run for them tonight. Great way to steal the thunder from the playoff guys.
Yeah, I think my closing is it's cool when like I said, we had a good race to the end that didn't turn bad, no matter what the caution might have been. But it's always cool when a guy can win that. There's 4 of us in here. We're all as excited as the other just to see the same guy win. So I think it's pretty cool when stuff like that can happen. It doesn't happen very often.
Absolutely. Nick Massey, final thoughts from you, my friend?
Yeah, just glad to see Johnny get a win. Definitely a popular win. You can see everybody give him like congratulatory donuts on the door there, coming around the parade lap there. But yeah, just a great race. We saw a lot of green flag runs, a lot of different strategy played. Johnny had us duped up. Johnny and Dustin Dewar had us duped up there for a little bit, kind of questioning if they could actually make it. Had Josh running the numbers again. But yeah, looking forward to next week at Old Atlanta.
Yeah, if Josh joins us again, his name's going to be Josh, a.k.a. Larry Mack. The way he was running those fuel numbers.
Yeah, great race here tonight, guys. Congratulations to Johnny Thomas on the victory here tonight. Looking forward to the next one at Legacy Atlanta next week here on the Elite Racing Network. On behalf of Chris Wright, Josh Adams, and our producer here tonight, Nick Massey, my name is Robert Hill Jr., and we will see you next time.